Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. So there's these really cool things called Kinder Eggs, and they come with like this kind of hazelnut chocolatey deliciousness along with a toy that you can assemble, and these toys are like really cool. Look at that. It's pretty sweet. It is tiny. Check this out. Look at that. Look how tiny this thing is. This is the drone. Monet's phone. It's actually smaller than her phone. Fold it out like this. This. Oh, does it go like that? Oh, like that. It folds out to nifty little. This thing is tiny. Oh my goodness. I can't get over how small this thing is. We will not be flying the drone today because it's snowing like crazy outside. So maybe tomorrow or sometime this weekend, we'll see if we can get some good footage. Yes, today is day 100 in the vlog. I didn't realize I got a 42-inch one and 18-inch zeros, and the middle zero is somehow leaking air. But this is a big day, so I thought I'd share with you some important analytics when it comes to the J137 YouTube channel and how far we've come in the last 100 days. So even though this is day 100 on the vlog, this is the 95th video in the vlog. We have done 100 days in approximately 164 days, or 165? 66. We started on November 4th of 2019, so do the math yourself. There are 75 subscribers. Thank you to those of you who have subscribed to the channel. 2,380 views in total. And if you average that out to the 94 or 95 videos, that's approximately 25 views per video, which is awesome. Thank you. The most viewed video is day 1, when we go over Genesis 1, 2, and 3, and that has 232 views. The least viewed day is day 65 at 7 views. So go check it out. It's rare footage. Those are our analytics thus far, going through the J137 vlog, going through the Bible near chronologically. We have, give or take, about 260 days left. So, we're getting there. Today we are in 1 Samuel chapter 21 through 24. David is on the run from Saul. David comes to the city of Nob, and there in the city he runs into the priest, Abimelech, and lies to the priest and says that he's on business for Saul, for the king, and is asking for provisions for food, those sort of things. And they actually end up giving David the holy bread, the bread that was reserved for the priest and the Levites to partake of. In addition to that, David is asking for a weapon. The only weapon that they have there is the actual sword that Goliath had, which David is very familiar with, because that was the sword that he used to chop off Goliath's head. And there's a very important part of this story. It tells us that there's this Edomite named Doeg, who was a servant of Saul. He was like his herdsman, and he saw all of this happen, all of this go down. Then David flees to Gath, which is a Philistine city. Basically, when he's at Gath and before King Achish, he acts like a madman. Like he's foaming at the mouth and just like, ah, you know, just acting crazy. Then in chapter 22, we see David flees to the cave of Adullam, and there he's met by his family as well as a lot of people that were just broken and destitute and struggling. Then the narrative turns to Saul. Saul's kind of chilling with his spear, and word gets to him that David was in the city of Nob. And so they go to the city, and he confronts the priest and is like, hey, why are you helping David out? And the priest was telling him that you sent David, like he was sent on some of your business. And Saul was like, no, that's not what is happening. You're helping David, you're helping my enemy. And Saul tells his warriors and his commanders to kill all the priests. But none of them were like, we're not going to do this. So he actually turns to Doeg. And it's through Doeg that he finds out about David being at the city of Nob. And Doeg, this Edomite, kills all the priests and just massacres the city of Nob. Just a horrific thing. And there's a son of the priest who escapes and flees to David and tells him of everything that transpired. And David is very sorrowful. Abiathar he brings into his company. Then chapter 23, we see that there was some Philistines were attacking the city of Keilah, and David inquires of the Lord, hey, should I go and fight the Philistines? And God says yes, and God gave him victory over the Philistines, and he saves the city. So he resides in the city for some time. But then Saul hears that David is in Keilah, and David inquires of the Lord and says, will the people of Keilah turn me over to Saul? And God basically tells him that, yeah, that's what's going to happen. And so David and his company, they all flee into the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul just keeps pursuing David and going after David. And at the end of chapter 24, Saul is actually very close and very near to capturing David and killing David. But back, home, if you will, word gets out that the Philistines are attacking Israel. So Saul basically breaks from pursuing David and goes back to fight the Philistines that are fighting the people of Israel. Then in chapter 4, David and his company, they are at En-Gedi. And En-Gedi was along the coast of the Dead Sea, and it was this very kind of mountainous, like a lot of caves that intertwine with each other type of place. And it's here that Saul and his men, they are near David. They don't realize how close they are to David and his men. But what Scripture tells us is Saul is basically going to the bathroom. And David's men say, look, God has given Saul into your hands. Go and kill him. And David goes up, and instead of killing Saul, he actually cuts off a piece of Saul's robe. And later on, it appears that David's at some sort of a distance where he basically reveals to Saul, like, hey, I had the chance to kill you, but it's not up to me. You are the Lord's anointed. David still realized and acknowledged that Saul was the king, and he respected that position that Saul had. Acknowledges that God is the one that's going to avenge David, that God is the one that's going to cause David to become king, and God is the one that's going to bring Saul down. That David didn't want to take the matters into his own hands. Saul is he's very impacted by this, and thus relents from pursuing David and trying to kill David. Saul goes back home, but David continues to stay with his company, and they're kind of hanging out in the wilderness. There is so much happening in these chapters. There are so many intricate detail things that we could talk about with each story and just this whole thing. As I was reading it, I was so drawn to chapter 24 with the story of En-Gedi, and you see David dealing with Saul very graciously. Saul is coming to kill David. It's been very clearly made that David is the new anointed one that God is going to anoint as king. And it would seem that he would have every right, even every godly right, to kill Saul when he had the chance, but he didn't. I think what's important to do with this story is to consider Romans chapter 12, verse 18 and 19, where it talks about, as much as depends upon you to live peaceably with everyone. And it is the Lord who avenge. It's not us. We don't take vengeance into our own hands, but the Lord will deal with those different types of things. And I just thought that was neat. That was encouraging. If you're wondering, are there two TVs behind me? The answer is yes. This TV right here is the one that's mounted that we do most of our TV viewing on. The one that's right here we have set up for the Wii because this TV cannot connect to the Wii, and we've been playing Mario Kart. Well, you guys, you watched the vlog, you saw us playing Mario Kart in the past, so that's why there are two TVs there.